For you this morning with the founder of The Big Issue, John Bird, and the royal historian, Kate Williams. Good morning once again.
Morning.
We'll start, Kate, with you should read page 3 of The Guardian, looking at Syria and obviously what's going on with Turkey.
Yes, Syria, it's a big story, long story, and Turkey now, Syria and Turkey, it's been standoff throughout the summer. Now, because of shelling, Turkey has now authorised military strikes on Syria. So, this is a big story, really, that a UN member is getting involved. It's going to be a cross-border here. Syria has always accused Turkey of arming and sheltering its main enemy, the Free Syria Army. It doesn't look like this conflict has any chance of finishing in the near future. It's looking very concerning, really.
And yet, Turkey isn't saying it will strike against Syria. It's just got that authorisation from the parliament.
It's got the authorisation, but it seems to be very likely that it will do, because now it's got the authorisation. And, of course, it's not about airstrikes. Military hardware is being moved into position. It looks pretty worrying, really.
Doesn't it make sense for Syria to find an external enemy rather than an internal enemy? That's what tends to happen, doesn't it? You tend to find somebody who you can unite the country behind.
But the issue is, of course, if it kicks off with Turkey, Turkey will inevitably end up with NATO backing.
Yeah.
And Turkey's so powerful. They're much more powerful than Syria, which is rather terrifying.
To The Independent, John, looking at Grant Shapps.
Yeah, the poor, misfortunate Michael Green, as is the name that he used when he was running for goforit.org. He apparently was posing as a multi-millionaire and getting people to pay $200 a hit for his software. And
promising them, if you did this, you got 200,000.
If you didn't get 20,000 in the first 20 days, you got your money back.
I know, I should have tried it.
That actually works very well, because you don't actually have to do it. You don't have to deliver it, but you just got to have enough people who don't, go for the return. But as the leader of the Conservative Party, in which he's opening the conference this year, it's going to be very, very embarrassing for him. I know Grant because he's been a very, very attentive Minister of Housing, and when he left, I wrote in The Big Issue and various other places, and I said, well, he told me he was in the job forever. He said he got into politics because of homelessness, and that was his great love. And then I turn round, and he's the chairman of the Conservative Party, and I say, well, why are you doing that? So this stuff adds to a kind of feeling of, well, is it all a load of bull?
Well, no politician stays in that same portfolio forever,
That's
do
not
they?
quite true.
Sometimes Cameron makes the move.
Sir George Young was in it for 7 years, and Sir George Young made a very, very major contribution. The Labour Party moved people around all over the place. I dealt with 4 ministers' works in 5 years. So there's always this thing. No one is ever allowed to grow up in their position. And Mr. Grant Shapps is just another expression of this kind of moving around. But added to this is he made the ASA, which is the Advertising Standards thing, as saying he may well be found to be fraudulent because he didn't have the £28 million business that he said he had, and he didn't own 2 aircrafts and all that stuff.
And he's just claimed it was just like an author's pseudonym, just another name.
Yeah.
But it's obviously more serious.
We've all got something to look forward to on a brighter note in The Independent. Life begins at 65,
Life
Kate.
begins at 65, so it does, yes. And from today...
So I'm a year old.
You're a year old,
There is no more forced retirement law. The idea that employers could force people to retire when they reach 65, it's abolished. And older people now can choose when they stop working, which, of course, is this answer to the fact that we are an increasingly ageing population. By 2050, it's going to be an explosion of much older people. The answer is essentially, to keep people working, although there's also a great problem of youth unemployment, and how do we counter that?
Mind you, if we're all working, John, we need somewhere to go on our bank holidays, don't we? And if we were Chinese, we'll be heading to the Great Wall, according to The Guardian. Great picture.
Yeah, that's a wonderful story that you've discovered, which is about everybody runs off to the Great Wall of China. You were saying it's largely because there's no monuments.
Well, I mean, this is a big 8-week golden week in China. Everyone's dashing to the monuments. The Great Wall is pretty crammed, so I don't think anyone should be going there now if they can. It's absolutely full, and I think...
That looks like my idea of hell, actually. There's far too many people.
It is crazy. I have to
Can you fall off the wall?
If you are ever in China, it's well worth it. It is an amazing thing to see.
It is fantastic. I have been to. It's wonderful, but that's a bit of a busy day, I think.
Oh, John, I hate to say it, we're out of time. Once again, time is tight for us this one. It's been really good to see you this morning.
The
Thank
only
you very
man-made
much
thing
indeed.
you can see from the moon.
That's not true, actually. That's a
Oh,
fallacy.
sorry.
I hate to say it. But let's go check on the weather. Talking satellite views, here's Naz.